Hi, Run Your Story family. This is Allison Gilliard with Run Your Story, where every story needs to be heard. And I am so excited that this month our friends at Run and Try Mobile are fueling your run stories. We love Aaron. We love Run and Try. He is such a giver of our running community, and he believes in Run Your Story. He believes in anybody that comes on. Like, they do such a great job. Aaron and his team at Run and Try, guys, they care about the shoes that you are in. And we absolutely appreciate that. From injury prevention to recovery and all the finish lines in between, Run and Try Mobile can help you find the perfect fit. Guys, I have been there so much lately because of an injury I've been dealing with, and I go to Aaron for expert advice and all the things that he's used, and he understands the runner's body. He understands what we put ourselves through, and he's always trying to figure out what he can bring in to help the running community, whether it's to help cross the finish line or to help with recovery or even for pickleball. So we love Aaron and his team at Run and Try. Guys, whenever you go in, you're going to get analyzing your feet done to a gait analysis, and they're going to find out what type of shoe you need. And that's how passionate they are at Run and Try Mobile. They will help guide you into the right step. Yes, I did a play on words, and you're welcome. Thank you to Aaron and the staff at Run and Try. You guys are absolutely amazing. We love Run and Try Mobile. Guys, definitely go check them out. We believe in them, they believe in us, and we love the partnership that we have. And again, like I said, Aaron is always giving back to the community, and we just adore him and his heart. So thank you to Run and Try Mobile, to Aaron, all the things that he does. Guys, definitely come out on Wednesday nights to the Outsider Lounge. It is so much fun running through downtown Mobile on Wednesday nights. And Aaron, again, believing in the running community, has helped stir this. This is not his running group, but he is helping to stir that, and it is just incredible. And so we've gotten to meet different people that we would have never met any other way. And so we are very, very excited. So definitely check them out on Wednesday nights. You guys would absolutely have so much fun running the downtown Mobile, especially with time change, guys. It's going to be amazing. And let me just say, 10 out of 10 recommend the food at the Insider. That's what we do on Wednesday nights. So definitely go check them out. Make sure when you go in to Run and Try that you say, hey man, thank you so much for believing in Run Your Story and for all that you do for the running community. Because again, he gives so much, and we just really appreciate Aaron and the team at Run and Try Mobile. So thank you for them believing in us and supporting this month's podcast. We are huge fans of Run and Try Mobile. And what better way to start off March than with Tracy Kemper? Oh, I love it when somebody reaches out to us and says, hey, I'm ready to share my story. This is what's going on. And I would have never met Tracy any other way. And that's the thing I love about this running community, guys. Like, it's the one thing we have in common, but then we find out we have other things in common. The fun thing about Tracy was that after the podcast, we just kept talking more and more, and it was just so much fun. We found out we had a lot in common. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. So again, whenever you guys come in and you share your stories, I cannot say thank you enough, because they really do help me grow as a person, and I'm better for it. And so one of the things that Tracy said to me, and you guys are going to hear it in her story, is that there is a season for everything. And she's right, there truly is. And there are seasons where we're all healthy, we're feeling good, our training is going well. And then there's seasons that I'm in right now, recovering from an injury, and it's frustrating, and I want to hit the pavement, but I can't. And I was doing so great with my training program. And it can really get to you, but I think that that's the thing that we've really been trying to push for Run Your Story, and that is that running is not who I am, it's what I get to do. It's a part of who I am, but it's not my whole entity. And so I have a theory, or more of a life philosophy, and that is, if I can't hit the pavement and run, I'm going to be volunteering, because I'm a part of the running community no matter what. And that goes for everybody. And so I love that Tracy said that. I needed to hear that. You know, there are seasons where we've been parents, and your running may have been like, I can only get a mile in, or I can only get 30 minutes in, or I can get 2 hours here, or whatever it is. That's a season. And now you go through these seasons where you watch your kids and their running and their stories and their athletics. And something else that Tracy said that I thought was absolutely amazing, and that is that our children and those around us, you don't have to be a parent, but maybe you're a mentor, maybe you're a running leader, maybe you're a teacher, whatever it is that you do, and those that are younger than you, they're looking at you, they're going to catch what you do. And that spoke volumes. I look at what my children and their running stories, how they've grown And it is just so cool to watch. And my kids didn't grow up in the running community per se, because I wasn't always a runner. But as Tracy says, she's watched, and not only her kids, but her whole family, they're runners. And that she doesn't remember a time when she wasn't running. I thought that was so cool. It was so fun. And just to hear how, again, the great thing about running is that it ebbs and flows. There are some times where we have to, again, that season where we have to put it down, but it doesn't mean that it's over. And if we truly believe in what we say, that everyone's welcome to the running community, walk the 5K, walk the 10K, walk the half, walk the full, just get out there and move. And however movement impacts you, get out there and do it. It's not the end of the world. And so there's so much to be gained. There's so much when we do slow down, that it's, again, Tracy was such a beautiful reminder to just be the season that you're in. Don't anticipate anything else. Just be in that season and you'll get through it, whether it's a good season or a bad season. So thank you, Tracy, so much for those beautiful reminders that you gave me. I'm really excited about hearing your story again. And just thank you for your heart, and thank you for what you bring to the running community. And I can't wait to see you at races. It's going to be so much fun. And I'm so thankful that I got to know you. And thank you so much for reaching out and sharing your story. It's absolutely incredible. All right, guys, so lace up those running shoes. Get ready, get set, and go run with my friend Tracy and her run story. Well, thanks, Tracy, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
This is awesome because we've gone back and forth with days, and here we are finally.
Yes.
Super exciting. And I know nothing about your run story, so I'm really excited. How does your run story begin?
That's a hard question to answer, but when I look at it, it's been a part of my whole life. I've
Mm.
always loved running. My earliest memories of running are running around barefoot with my siblings and my cousins on a farm in Ohio, and just being so free, like chasing after fireflies and playing tag, and just feel lighthearted, just feeling free when I would run. And even as an elementary school kid, I would realize that if I felt really stressed out or maybe angry at one of my siblings or something like that, if I would just go outside and run around, I felt better. And so I picked that up pretty early, just a love of being outdoors, being active. In elementary school, we had these little PE mini miles, and I was determined to be the champion of that. So I ran a lot for that. I ran track in junior high. Then in high school, I started cross country. And that was a time where my school, it's a small school in Ohio, didn't have any varsity girls. And so I ran, a second cousin of mine joined too, and we talked a few other people into running. So that first year we didn't have a team. But then I got to be part of seeing that team grow. And the year after I graduated high school, that team actually made it to state. So I never got that experience, but they did.
And then you got to help build that.
I did, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got to be there in high school when our boys team, my junior year, had a perfect season. There was a group of guys, there were so many good runners all at one time. They won every meet they went to. They won districts and sectionals and regionals and state. And I felt deeply connected to that.
Sure.
I knew all their times and who they should be in front of. And just as one of their teammates, I felt like I was part of that too. So
Sure.
it was a really fun experience. So that was all good. I went to college, and I chose not to run for the college, even though I had opportunities, but my degree was going to be technical, and I just felt I couldn't manage that. So I would just sign up for 5Ks and 10Ks. I ran for fun. I just kept moving. Then I get married. I have my babies, and same thing, just keep moving, definitely at a slower pace. Definitely it's all different, sometimes with a double stroller, single stroller. And so I've been able to continue to run. I'm 45 now, so I've been able to run, I feel like, most of my life, and just really appreciate that it's been a thread in my story, that God's just allowed me to keep going, just keep running. So that's my story, but there's also a lot of people in my life who are runners. So I feel like it's a little bit in my DNA. I have several siblings who've done half marathons, full marathons, triathlons. I have my first cousin once removed who ran cross country with me in high school. She now coaches my high school's team,
Wow.
along with her brother. And then I have nieces and nephews who are running. I have first cousins who didn't run in high school and then got married with kids and decided they were going to start taking on some 5Ks and just advance from there. One of my sisters, she coaches a team in Ohio with her husband.
Wow.
And they both run, and they both go do triathlons together. And he's been a big marathon runner, ultra runner. I can't do any of that stuff. But there's a lot of running in my family story. So I'm not saying we're all fast or great, but just a kind of a legacy of staying active and running is a part of that. So
Yeah, and it's something you get to share together as a family.
yeah, it is. And I've been able to share it some with my kids. When they were
Mhm.
little, we took them to a lot of kid fun runs. I have some pictures from that, just funny stories of that where they were little. Sometimes I remember a time we did the Cincinnati Flying Pig.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they had a kid fun run. And so my sister and her, I think at the time it was her boyfriend, but now they're married. They met us downtown in Cincinnati. So her boyfriend Tony ran with my son Ben, who was maybe 6 or something. She ran with my daughter Claire, who was maybe 4 or 5. I don't remember. My sister did. My sister Vicky did. And then my husband and I took the double stroller and we had the 2.5-year-old and the baby in the stroller. So between the two of us, we figured we can make it a mile, whatever. And when we got to the race and we started running, my daughter Jossie, who was, I think 2.5 or 3, I can't really remember, she would not ride in that stroller and she was determined to run. And she really did it. She ran the whole kid fun run. So I just have lots of memories of the kids doing stuff like that. We had a really, really great YMCA in Ohio where we lived. It was ranked in the top couple in the nation. So it was
Wow.
a huge facility, lots of swimming pools, lots of activities, lots of things kids could try. It was an awesome resource for the community. And so my kids got to do a kids triathlon there. So they had multiple attempts at a kids try. So that was cool. So it's just been really fun to see. And then growing up, as my own kids have grown up, my daughter Jossie really took to running. So in 7th grade, she joined Faith Academy's cross country team. So the first year was just a mom cheering her on. I felt my heart was going to melt every time she ran. I just was so proud of her. She was pretty good at it. And then over time, I started being the assistant coach, and then I took on the varsity coach role. So I got to coach varsity cross country at Faith for a couple years. And just her senior years this year, she just decided not to run her last year and focus on soccer. So she switched over a little bit. And then one of my sons, he played soccer the whole way through. And if you would look at a 16-year-old version of him and say, you should run more so you can be a better soccer player, he would not hear it. He did not want to run. He wanted to lift weights. He wanted to get bulky. He wanted to be big and strong. And he did that and he focused on that. And now he's the one in college and he's 21 and he started running about 9 months ago.
Wow.
And he has just taken to it too. So all of a sudden he wants to talk running shoes and running gear. And it's been so fun for me to share that connection. We've done a couple 5Ks, not together. We start at the same time. And he usually runs back and helps me finish. He circles back at some point when I feel like I'm going to die and I say, I can't finish this. And he's like, yes, you can.
I have a 21-year-old too. I get that.
Yes.
And he's PR in everything he touches. And then I'm just like, no. Oh, but okay, great.
Yes.
So-
And it's so fun to watch them do that.
Absolutely.
I think it's more fun than even knowing what I could do or
for
whatever.
sure.
It's more fun to see my kids go do that kind of stuff. And it's super fun to share those events because, like I said, when he circles back, I look forward to that. As I'm getting closer to the finish, I'm like, where is he? I need my running support. So that's been really fun to share that with him. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Yours is more supportive. Mine's like, come on, Mom, hurry up. Let's go. Let's go. Pick it up. Thanks, babe.
that works too.
I give him the eye roll, like, oh, you know what? It's fine.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how your family has made running a family thing.
Yeah.
And in their own way.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty
pretty cool.
fun. And it's fun to be able to go back at Christmas and see my sister Tina and her husband Jason and just talk running because they're the ones actively coaching a high school cross country and track team. And they're running with the teenagers. And so we can swap stories and share that experience. So it's really neat to have connections both in Ohio with running and then here in Mobile. We moved here 9 years ago.
Okay.
So a lot of connections here in the running community too. So
That is so neat.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So obviously you have some lessons that you learned from running.
I have. Some were hard lessons to learn. If I think back, the more recent lesson I've learned in this season of my life, I've learned that there's seasons for everything, just to have a healthy perspective on running. So at this season of my life, I've really never had pain running. I don't have knee trouble or any, I'm really grateful for that. But I know that if I ran too much, I would. I can tell that it's different. And so I feel like this season of life is just recognizing I like running enough to want to keep doing it. And so that means sometimes I need to take a walk and I need to cross train. So I've cycled. I just started up at CrossFit in the last couple of months just as a way to strength train because I really, really hate lifting weights and going to the gym. But just like running community, CrossFit has its own community. So
Absolutely.
I've been able to go to that, and that's been really helpful to me because it keeps me accountable to doing things I wouldn't do otherwise because I know I need to focus on those areas. So in this season, I've just basically learned to appreciate the season that I'm in. Just appreciate the body that I have, the strength that it has, the life that it has, and that's enough. So it took me a while to get to that point because when you have run for a long time, you have in your head this muscle memory of what running should feel like. So I went to the turkey trot downtown this past Thanksgiving. And when it started, and I knew there were a lot of people at the start, it was a little more crowded than I was expecting. Right. And I didn't want to get caught in the pack. I just kind of wanted to do my own thing. And so I just started hard. And I ran the first half mile or 3/4 of a mile. And I thought, wow, I can barely breathe. And I glanced down at my watch and I was a minute and a half or 2 minutes above the pace I really should have been. Like this muscle memory from before must have kicked in. That's really not my speed. And then I just had that moment where I thought, oh, this is too fast. And I really did burn out a little bit on that race. I had to walk quite a bit in the last mile. It was a run walk for me because I really burned myself out. I gassed myself that first mile. And I had no intention of doing that. I'm not going to win a medal or anything. So it's not like I went out to go win something. So I've just had to be really careful about not comparing, even in my own brain, to maybe what it felt like 10 or 15 or even more years ago and just say, this is where I'm at now and really listen to my body. So that's a big lesson. Listen to your body. Appreciate the season you're in. It used to come a lot easier to me than it does now. Yes. Yes, but if I look even further back than that, one of the biggest things I learned when I was in high school, I really focused on running. I put in a ton of summer miles. That was a time where the boys team had won state before my junior year, so before my senior year. There was a whole group of us that we were logging some serious miles. And I did not have the knowledge to know what to do with that as far as nutrition or cross training or anything like that. And so that senior season started and I had run 60 or 70 miles all through the summer. Fall starts up in cross country. And I had a very good senior season, but each race I had less to give. My times didn't necessarily get worse, but I was wiped out. And then it came to the last race in my senior year and I missed qualifying for state as an individual by 2 seconds. I mean, the person in front of me was right there. But when I finished that race and I look back at pictures, I just see that I just look really run down. I probably did not weigh enough. I don't think I was eating enough. My skin color was a little different. It was not a healthy place to be. And I didn't mean to do that. I just didn't know to do different. And so that was an eye-opening experience because I think before that I thought you set your mind on a goal, you go for the goal, you get the outcome. You're young, you think it's black and white. And that really opened my eyes to there's so much more to this. And also that you can set the goal, but life has a way of twisting and turning your path, and God orders those steps in ways that you don't see. And so I felt like that was probably the first time I ever felt a really deep sense of failure. Like I had a goal and it was right in front of me and I couldn't get it. But I think I learned so much from it because I was fine. It was okay. I was able to go support the guys' team who did go to state. I was able to be there the next year when the team went to state without me. And I was able to enjoy those experiences and not see it as a disappointment, but just something that just wasn't in the cards for me at the time. And I also learned a lot about myself in that time because then I took a long break from running and got a lot healthier overall. And so I think that's part of the commitment I have to myself now is like, I want to do this, but in a way that honors my whole self, not just a goal to be a good runner, but to just honor my whole self with it. So that's probably a big lesson that I got at a younger age.
So good.
Yeah.
Wow. Those are some great lessons, Tracy.
Yeah.
Wow.
They came with some tears, but
It's
yes.
for Yeah. Well, and then you've been able to pass that along to not only athletes at your school, but also to family members because it's one of the things I love about the running community is that we check in on each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, man, I haven't seen you out in a while. Oh, yeah, I have this injury or or I said walking or whatever it is of like, hey, look, what's going on? And we just help each other
Yes.
through the lessons that we learned by sharing that.
Right.
So I'm sure that you have been like, you know what? I don't think you're eating enough to other,
Yes.
to your kid, to your own kids, to be like, hey,
Yes.
listen, you got to fuel properly. And especially as parents, we want to go through things because we don't want our kids to have to go through it.
Right.
And so to be able to be that resource and be like, this is where I was, this is where I could have been.
Yeah.
Don't make the same mistake that I did.
Yes.
I think that is priceless.
I think it's definitely helped me with my own kids being active and
Mhm.
playing sports, just to be real clear that they need enough protein in
Oh,
their
sure.
diet. They need to have a balanced diet. They've
Mhm.
got to take care of their bodies. Even recovery stuff. I didn't know any of
Exactly.
that stuff back then. It was
Mhm.
just a different time. And then as a coach, as a cross country coach, I would consistently put out in our Remind little tips for nutrition. I followed
Mhm.
different nutritionists who
Mhm.
focus on teen athletes.
Mhm.
I would talk to them. We'd sometimes break into the guys' team and the girls' team, and my assistant coach was a guy. He would talk to the guys about
Mhm.
things like that. I would pull the girls aside and talk to them about eating enough food,
Mhm.
eating a real lunch at school,
Mhm.
having a breakfast. They can't really snack during the school day,
Sure.
but how important it was to have a breakfast, a lunch, and maybe even a quick snack before we started practice,
Mm.
and how important it was to hydrate. So just tried to help them focus on staying overall a good athlete and not
Mhm.
just zoning in on just the running
Sure.
side of it. So I do feel like I got to share that with
Mhm.
them, and I hope it helped them. I do have a funny story about that. I did tell the whole team as a collective group at one point at practice. I said, you need so many calories. I had X number of calories for the guys and for the girls.
Mhm.
And to the guys, I said, this means you have to eat more than your dads eat. This is more food than your parents are eating. You have to consume more calories than that. Well, we took a road trip for a cross country meet. It was up in Montgomery. We stayed at a hotel, and in the morning, one of my runners, who's a very literal thinker, he decided he was going to eat more than his dad. Well, we're at the hotel. I have two assistant coaches with me, a couple parents. I'm doing the rounds. Is
Mhm.
everybody out of the room? Are we ready to get on the bus? Did everybody eat something? Busy. We get to the bus, and my husband says to me, so and so just ate 2 or 3 plates of bacon. And so I asked him about it, and he said, you said eat more than my dad would. And my dad would eat a whole plate of bacon, so I went back for more. He threw up.
Yeah.
He ran a PR that day too.
Oh.
When his parents arrived to the meet, I said, I'm really sorry, but I'm pretty sure he ate 3 plates of bacon.
Wow.
So he took me quite literally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm fueling for this race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bacon wasn't what I had in mind. But hey, we'll take it.
Okay, let's get back to the drawing board now.
Eggs,
That's
toast. Yeah, that cracked me up.
That's
So I
great.
realized I need to be a little more specific when I talk to the kids and what I mean when I say get more calories than your mom and dad.
Fantastic. Oh my goodness. So do you have a favorite race personally that you're just like, ooh, I cannot wait to run this race?
Okay, I tried to think about that one. And for me to run one, no, I do like the Azalea Trail, I like the Battleship.
Mhm.
I've done the Women's Resource Center run. I
Mhm.
like that one. But I feel I like all the races I go to pretty much.
Okay.
I did one across in Gulf Shores or Orange Beach right after Thanksgiving this
Mhm.
past year. And
Okay.
that was really fun because it was on paved trails and it was in the woods.
Mhm.
And you never saw the same thing twice. So I didn't know where I was going, but it was really pretty.
Yeah.
And I never felt like I was repeating scenery. So
Mm.
that was really nice. I
Okay.
can't remember what that one was called. But my favorite race to be a part of is the Jesse Owens meet. It's for high school
Yeah.
athletes up north in Alabama. And I would get to go with the team to that. And I'm blown away when I go there. There are so many fast runners. There's so many divisions there, 5 or 6 different divisions you can sign your team up for.
Mhm.
And those runners in those higher divisions, I'm telling you, they look to me like Olympic athletes.
Wow. That's so
Really amazing to
Mhm.
see just the potential of what the human body can do.
Mhm.
So I just feel like it's such a good glimpse for us as a team to go.
Mhm.
And there's just this energy there because it's thousands of people in one place.
Mhm.
We're in this field in nowhere, Alabama. I don't remember where it is, somewhere west of Decatur or something. So you're just nowhere, but there's these 5 or 6,000 people there and from all different states, all different ability levels. And yet everyone's, you know how it is with running, everyone's cheering everyone on.
Yeah.
So just being there as a part of it was always one of my favorite things. I
Okay.
just loved it up there.
So do you have a race that you're like, not my favorite?
No, I don't think I found
Okay.
one, not locally here in Mobile, that I wouldn't do again.
Okay.
I did in Ohio, I did one called the Dayton River Corridor. and it was a half marathon, and
Mhm.
I would not do that one because it was just literally an out and back course.
Mhm.
And I did it twice actually, which is funny because I just said I wouldn't want to do it again. The first year I did it with a friend, and we did it because of the timing of it. Like it was the right weekend
Okay.
and it made sense. Our kids were little. We had set aside the time to train. That was okay. The second time we did it, there was some kind of hurricane storm in the south. And
Mhm.
so the winds blew up across the US and they hit Ohio during the race. So at the beginning of the race, it really wasn't windy or stormy.
Mhm.
But by the time I got to about mile 5 or 6, the winds were picking up. And by the time we
Mhm.
finished the race, the winds were up to 22 miles an hour.
Ew.
And remember I said it's an out and a back?
Yeah.
The whole way back was
Oh.
into that wind. And
Mhm.
I just really felt at one point I just looked down and I thought, am I going forward?
Yeah.
I need proof. I need to find a rock or something and see if I'm actually moving
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
So I would not do one like that
Mhm.
again. I don't really love an out and back type
Mhm.
experience. So
Mhm.
that's the only thing I try to avoid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Since you talked a little bit about nutrition, do you have a pre-race routine?
I do.
Okay.
It's not set in stone or anything
Okay.
like that, but usually when I get up, the first thing I do, especially in a race morning, is I'll drink I have greens in like a energy fizz kind of
Mhm.
packet. So
Okay.
it's got like caffeine in it, B vitamins, but a lower amount of caffeine than a cup of coffee.
Mhm.
So I do that every morning. I do that regardless, but definitely on a race day,
Mhm.
I'm going to get up and get that in my system pretty quick because it's giving you just a boost of everything. So you just feel pretty alert and
Mhm.
awake after that. And then I usually drink a little bit of water, and then I usually try to make a protein shake and maybe even eat part of a banana and kind of save the other half of both for after the race.
Mhm.
But just a little bit of food in my stomach. I
Mhm.
can't run totally without something in my stomach.
Mhm.
So just a little bit to give me enough to go on. So real light, but just a little bit of food.
Okay.
And then after I get food in my body, I feel like I've got something to use to burn.
Mhm.
And it's a matter of just walk and run to get warmed up
Mhm.
and stretching, really good stretching. When I was younger, I think I could just show up and say, the first mile is going to be my warm up.
Right. Right.
Now I need about 15 minutes to
Mm.
run and walk because the first few minutes I run, I feel like I'm going to die any
Sure.
second.
Yeah.
I got to get over that hump before I start to try to race. So I need a little bit of time before a race
Mhm.
now, but nothing too serious.
Okay.
So
Very
yeah,
good. I like it. And you cross the finish line. You're done
Mhm.
with your race. What does your post-race routine look like?
I think it's the wind down of what I said pre-race.
Sure.
So it's first just walk around. I
Mhm.
try to keep moving after I
Mhm.
finish. I try not to stop or bend over. That's just an old habit from our high school coach would be big on that. Just don't let yourself collapse. Try to stay upright. And then when I coached cross country, I would try to have my athletes do that too. Get your hands behind your head and just stay up, keep moving.
Mhm.
One time, my own daughter, when she was in 8th grade, she finished a race. She ran hard. She was pretty tiny then. She hadn't really
Mhm.
grown yet. Now
Mhm.
she's a grown woman, right? But she was still a little girl. And she had run really hard with the high school girls, finished, and she walked over to the cross country tent and she sat down to take off her spikes.
Mhm.
And when she sat down, she collapsed. It was
Wow.
just, she had just had her heart pumping so hard. And then to sit was just this dropout. And
Mhm.
so she hit the ground and she just was not good.
Mhm.
After a few minutes, there was a nurse on site helping her. We ended up calling 911 and she took a transport to the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that, it really changed something for me. I
Yeah.
already was committed to stay upright, walk
Mhm.
around, don't
Mhm.
sit down too fast. You've really got to let your body adjust for a little
Mhm.
bit. And then after that, I got even more strict about that with my
Mhm.
runners. You really have to stay on your feet for a few
Mhm.
minutes. You've
Mhm.
got to keep moving. You've got to slowly get some water back in your system because I just didn't want to see anybody else go through that because it was
Sure.
pretty scary.
Oh,
They ended up
yeah.
giving her fluids
Mhm.
and we followed up with the doctor and it was said to me, she's tiny, little battery. When it's out, it's out. So she
Mm.
can't just go from 110% to 0. This will happen again if she does. So that was just something I learned by watching her go through that
Mhm.
experience. It also changed the way I cheer for people. So I used to cheer for the runners, say, give it all you've got,
Mhm.
finish strong.
Mhm.
And after that day, I had said that to her and she did it and she collapsed. And I've never since said to a runner, give me everything you've got. Nope. I say, you can do it.
Mhm.
You're almost there. Finish strong. But I will never say again, give me everything
Mhm.
because running that's not what it's about.
Right.
So
Sure.
we all want our
Mhm.
athletes to have that feeling like they didn't leave anything behind. But I just don't want to be the one to say it like that. I
Mhm.
can say that without saying, give me everything you got. So I just changed the wording. I feel a lot better about it when I cheer for people now.
Yeah.
So
Again, though, way to take what happened, a lesson that you learned, and say, hey, we're going to share this with the community, and it's going to change my perspective. Yeah, that's really cool. Not cool that she went through that.
Yeah.
But really cool that you guys took that and said, we're going to do something good with us.
Right. And she was young enough that by the time we got her to the hospital, I rode with her in the ambulance and she gets the IV fluids. She's like, take a picture of us. She recovered really well. It became funny to her that, hey, look where we are. This is a crazy day.
Started off running, ended up in the emergency room.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So let's talk about, what is your favorite running item to run with, Tracy?
I do not run without my Shocks and my phone.
Okay.
So I love my Shocks headphones because I love that I can hear what's going on around me. I like to run in my neighborhood and the one beside my neighborhood.
Okay.
So I like to do a kind of a loop through my neighborhood, run up the street a little bit on Eliza Jordan, which is a little bit iffy sometimes, but I only have to make it 200 feet. Every time I'm like, I can do this. And then there's a neighborhood beside us that's a little bit flatter. So it makes a great just running loop. So I love to have something to listen to. And I definitely would run with my phone. And I wear a road ID band.
Sure. Yeah.
I just feel like those are just safety precautions. I wouldn't want that for any runner to not have a phone and some kind of ID on them, no matter where they are, what age they are. But I really like having my Shocks because I feel like I can really hear what's coming up beside me. The car's on the way, I can tell, that kind of stuff. So,
okay. I like it. What is your playlist like? What do you like to listen to, Tracy?
Okay, so not usually music when I run.
Oh, okay.
I don't really, I don't know why. I guess because when I run, I get into my own cadence. And if the song doesn't match that, it just drives me crazy.
Oh,
like I
that's
can't
funny.
relax into it.
So I know I can't get into the music.
I can't. I'd have to, I don't even know how to find the songs that would match my running cadence. So I just don't really listen to music.
Okay.
But I listen to your podcast. I listen to another one about women in running. I listen to books sometimes. Sometimes I don't really listen to anything. I just have my Shocks on and ready. So if the phone rings or if I need to do anything, I hear the messages coming in. So sometimes just quiet, just me and my thoughts. But yeah.
Okay. I've actually never heard that. That's
Oh, really?
okay. Yeah. That's my, sometimes I just don't listen to anything.
Yeah. Sometimes.
With my aftershocks on.
Yeah. Just in case I change my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is such a fun fact. Okay, let's switch to running shoes. What do you like to run in?
Okay, so I've run in Brooks for a while, for the last probably 10 years.
Well, okay.
I feel like when I go, I'd switch out some, but I looked up what mine are now. I have apparently the Ghost Max 2. I'm not sure I love them more than other Brooks, but Brooks just work really well for me. Something about my stride or my foot, they work great for me. And I recently got a pair of Ultras at Christmas to try. Right.
Different.
Right. So trying to go to that lower heel drop kind of thing. I didn't get the totally zero drop. I think mine are the 4 millimeter or something. So it's the in-between step. And I do really like running in them. I have found if I'm running longer distances, though, like if I'm going to run more than, say, 2.5 miles, my feet do get tired in them. I feel in my calves and part of my foot will ache. And so I do the Brooks still for anything beyond that. But if I just have 20 minutes to go run, I really do like the Ultras because they feel really, really lightweight. So,
wow.
So I'm just playing between the two. And when I look at the two shoes, I feel like they're kind of opposite.
That's right.
And I like them both. So there you go. Whatever that means.
I'm a big believer in switching, alternating shoes.
Yeah.
And I am the worst because I tell people, I'm like, oh, you never want to judge a shoe by its color. But when a shoe comes out and they release a new color, I'm like, oh, that one's so good. I should probably get that. So
I think it's fun to have fun shoes.
Absolutely. I say your shoes should make you excited. Like they should be like, oh, I cannot wait to go run in that.
Yes.
And that's how you should get excited.
Yes. And I really love my shoes when they're about worn out. When they're really at the last stretch. I've used 85% of them. I love them because they fit like a glove. They're exactly my shoes. And then I realize they're probably going to wear out soon. I'm going to start feeling it in my ankle or, something and just have to go back for another pair. But that last stretch is my favorite part of any shoe. It's just when it's all broken in just right.
Okay. All right. So you've talked about fueling prior to a race. Do you, for longer distance, do you take anything with you to fuel?
So I don't run super long
Sure.
distances anymore. 10K is really about
Okay.
as far as I choose to go at this
Mhm.
point. And I did that I did the Mobile Marathon Relay.
Mhm.
So I had the 5 mile stretch. And that was the first time ever I tried gels. Because
Okay.
when I did the half marathons, I did use gels,
Mhm.
but that was a while ago.
Mhm.
And so I really haven't pushed myself at a farther distance in a while. And I used them and I did it about every 2.5 miles or 2 and 4. I can't remember. And I did really like it. I did
Mhm.
feel like it gave me energy. As I get ready to do the Azalea 10K, I'll probably bring something in halfway through,
Mhm.
do something like that. But
Sure.
I don't have a favorite because I don't use it super
I
often.
gotcha.
My runs are generally a little
Yeah.
bit shorter than
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Do you have a favorite running memory? Like when you think about running, because you've already shared some really great stories.
Yes.
But is there one that you're like, this is what running is for me?
Yes, there is. I feel like there's so many, it's hard to even really say. I feel like when I was in high school and especially if my parents were at the race, I definitely felt like people were running all around to cheer for me. That's the great thing about a high school cross country meet is literally the parents run
Mhm.
from point to point through the field and the
Right.
wood
Yeah. Yeah.
to see their kid
Mhm.
run. And so I felt really supported in that.
Mhm.
And then I think the other time I felt really supported was one time I decided to try a triathlon.
Mhm.
It is kind of a crazy story, but I really didn't put a lot of training into it. And when I did it, I'm not a great swimmer, but I made it through the swim, got into the bike, and I just had the bike I had for years. I didn't
Mhm.
have a good cycling bike.
Sure.
So my kids were little. I really couldn't have afforded to have a nice bike at that point in my life. And that's just what it was.
Mhm.
But when I went on the bike, the chain fell off the gears when I
Oh.
tried to shift on a hill. And something in it, like a little screw or something fell out. So I had to walk the bike to the next station
Yeah.
where they had a pickup truck and
Mhm.
somebody with tools and things like that. I didn't know to carry it under my seat. I really didn't know any of the
Sure.
things.
Sure.
And so it took me a long time to bike because I had to walk a considerable portion of the 10-mile bike. Part of
Mhm.
it was just a beginner try.
Mhm.
And when I came back into the running part, there was my husband, my 4 kids, they're all little, and they all have signs that say, "Go, mom.
Oh.
You are the best. Letter U, letter R." So that was probably my favorite moment. And I'm
Absolutely.
pretty sure I was one of the last people in for the run. So I also think my husband had worry on his I think he was starting to wonder what happened. But my
Mhm.
kids were just as pumped as if I was really good or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It was pretty sweet.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that that's such a cool thing of when your kids are there at the finish line.
Yeah.
And it's something that I'm personally proud of too, is that my kids have been there when I've done triathlons and they don't know. They see you get a medal. They're like, oh, my mom won. Like they don't care.
Right.
But they're just like, my mom did that. And I hope that's something that my kids can look back on and be like, my mom can do anything.
Yeah.
She did this and this. And so when I do half marathons, I'll send a text to my kids because they're no longer at finish club anymore because they're
Right.
all doing their thing.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, Mom, that's so cool. Great job. And now our son, as his running has increased, he's like, I'm kind of itching for a half. And I'm like, dude, you can totally do it. And
Yes.
know that you can.
Yes.
And so it's been really cool to see, as we talked about earlier, their transition from when they were younger.
Mhm.
And it wasn't even intentional, like you said, about how we didn't need for running to become like this big family thing the way that it
Right.
did, but it has.
Yes.
And so I see my kids do their own running journeys, and I'm just like, wow, that is just such a cool thing to be able to share.
Yes.
So I love that.
It's so
I love
fun to
that.
see
Mhm.
that. And like you said, it's so sweet for them to see you finish
Yeah.
and to think you can do that.
Mhm.
And I hope it models for them. You can do so much more than
Absolutely.
what you think you can do.
Yes. Yes.
So don't limit yourself. And
Mhm.
they always say it's better caught than taught. So I could talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
But when I'm out there doing it, that's where I hope it sticks. Is
Mhm.
I've always just had really active lifestyles.
Mhm.
When they were little, lots of bike rides and playing outside and
Mhm.
hiking and taking them to fun runs and swim meets.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we just did things. And
Mhm.
so I hope that becomes a lifestyle for them too as they continue to age, that they
Mhm.
just, I hope it's caught,
Yeah.
something they picked up along the
Mhm.
way.
Oh, that's such a
We've
great
enjoyed
thing.
it, so I
Yeah.
hope they get to enjoy it.
Absolutely. You talked about post race that you like the other half of your banana on the protein shake.
Yeah.
But is there a meal that you're like, ooh, I can't wait to eat this?
It's usually something heavy, actually. It's
Yeah.
like a burger
Okay.
or a big burrito.
Oh,
Sounds good,
okay.
like
Yeah.
Chipotle or something. So it's a lot of food. When
Mhm.
I'm done, give me about an hour and then
Mhm.
I'm ready to eat.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you.
And that's really one of the fun parts of it because even in the race, sometimes I'll think, well, when I finish, I'm having whatever for lunch.
She's getting to the finish line.
So you get to look forward to
Yes.
that post-race meal and
Mhm.
sitting down with the people that met you at the race
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. I mean, that's a fun part of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You did mention a little bit about recovery. So do you have a favorite recovery tool?
I don't know if I have a favorite, but I do have things I do.
Okay.
Stretching for sure,
Mhm.
especially kind of yoga things. I'm not
Mhm.
really, I don't think I know a lot about yoga, but downward dogs
Sure.
and just some stuff like that, I feel really opens up my lower back and
Mhm.
my hamstrings, my calves. I definitely like a massage gun.
Mhm.
I had that in my van at the Mobile Marathon.
Nice.
And some of the ladies on my team had not used it before. So as I'm driving them from point to point, I'm
They're
saying,
like,
you need to use this.
Yeah.
How do you make it without a massage gun? These things are amazing.
Absolutely.
So I like that. And then I like a good saltwater bath, or we
Mhm.
have a hot tub at our house. It's a saltwater hot tub.
Mm,
So getting in the
okay.
hot tub after is probably another favorite thing to do. But I think the massage gun probably goes the farthest. I feel like you
Mm,
get a lot for a little bit of time. You know,
sure.
if you just sit there at night and go over your calves a couple times,
Mhm.
I think it feels better. I think they
Mm.
really work.
Okay. I like it. And you've also mentioned cross training,
Yes.
CrossFit now.
Yes.
So how did you get involved in CrossFit?
I have a friend who's been doing it for about
Okay.
3 years,
Mhm.
and it's in Hurley where I go. So I live in West Mobile,
Mhm.
so it only takes me 15, maybe 20 minutes to get
Okay.
there. So it's not hard for me. I just hop on the airport and go. And so I went last summer with her a couple times because she had a couple passes,
Mhm.
come check it out. And every time I went, I felt really good after.
Mhm.
I had been going to Planet Fitness and doing weights on my own
Sure.
there. But like I said, I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
So I would do it. I would keep a little tracker on my phone. So I would make myself try to do it good the next time or whatever. But I
It's like,
dreaded
I don't
it.
even want to be here.
I dreaded it so much. And so it just was not enjoyable, but I just felt like I need to do it. She's saying, come to CrossFit, come to CrossFit. And when I came, I was like, it's so much more fun to do it with people.
Mm.
And then I have somebody checking my form and making sure I'm not going to hurt myself and all
Mhm.
the things that I need because I don't want to do any of the things. So I've really enjoyed it. And then when the school year started, I couldn't really get back. But now my son is in marching bands and he doesn't drive. He's the baby of the family. So that kind of consumed the fall part of it. But
Mhm.
now that he's out of that, once it got to be about November, December, he and I made a pact and we go 2 days a week after school. We just hustle out of school.
Wow.
I'm a teacher. We hustle out of school. We get over there and we get it done.
Mhm.
And it's been really fun to do that with him because he's the baby
Sure.
of the family.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten to do as I feel like as I guess maybe everybody feels like that, but with the baby, I haven't gotten to do as much with him individually.
Mhm.
So even just driving over there and he plays the music. Soon he'll have his permit. He'll be driving me over there.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, and then we're over there lifting together,
Mhm.
and so it's been really fun. We've had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Oh,
So it's not just about the lifting weights. I go because the people there are funny and they're encouraging, and I'm with my son, and there's so much to it that makes me want to go back.
yeah.
So
And some people are like, I don't want to be here either.
yeah,
And they
exactly.
say it, and you're like,
Yeah.
I can't believe you said that.
I'm pretty sure one of the first days that my son Evan came, the coach over there at CrossFit Lucio, she asked him, what do you think?
Mhm.
And I didn't know this, but apparently he told people, oh, this is awful. I really hate it.
What?
And we get to the van and I say, what'd you think? And he's like, it's all right. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what? A day later, I get a text from the coach and she's like, how does he feel about it today? And I said, oh, I think it's fine. And she's like, oh, really? Because yesterday he said, what? And then
Oh.
she said, I'm the coach and the owner, and sometimes I feel like that too. So
Nothing
tell
but-
him it's okay.
You're
So,
like, who did this training plan? Who did this for today, this workout?
and who wants to do burpees, really?
Yeah.
Come on.
Mhm. I'm with you. 110% agree. What advice would you give to somebody that wants to start running?
So I have some people in my life recently that did just start running, kind
Mhm.
of looked at me and said, I want to do a half marathon. What do I need to do?
Wow, yeah.
So the first question is always, have you been running?
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
And I think so. The biggest advice, I have two pieces of advice. One, you've got to have good running shoes. I just don't think if you're trying to just start out, you should just go out there in any old shoe
Yeah.
because things are going to shift. You have to build up muscle and strength. And if you don't have the support that you need all the way through the leg, I just think you're just going to be in pain. And then nobody wants to run. There's pain like this is hard. My brain is telling me to stop. And we all learn to push past that pain. But it's a pain that we know is we're bigger than that pain. But then there's pain like sharp knee pain.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
You know, shin splints and things like that, where it's like, that is not the kind of pain we're talking about here.
Sure.
That kind of pain makes nobody want to run. I mean, I don't know why you would want to do it if all that stuff hurt. So a good pair of shoes, I think, is really important. And then the second thing is, I really feel like new runners should not have an expectation of how far, how fast. If they could, people won't really do this, but if they could convince themselves not to wear their tracker watch or flip it over and not look at it, because when you're starting, I think you've got to run and walk, run and walk, run and walk. And at some point, if you can run a little further or you can run more of the, just if you have a loop that you do like I do in my neighborhood, and you can run more of it than you walked, those are the wins at first, right? So I just think people get in their head, I'm going to go from couch to 5K, and also my 5K time is going to be. And it's like, if you haven't really ever run before, just give yourself the space to just set a baseline. Where are you starting, you know? And when I see people try to push past, I feel like that's where the injuries come in. And then they just end up not running at all. So it's hard to be patient because we all want to be good at things.
Right.
But I feel like you have to build a base. And even a friend of mine who went to start running a half marathon, she kind of went out hard. She works out plenty. She's in good shape. A lot of people are like that, but not in running shape. And it is different. And so she just thought she could just add mileage to the weekend, do her normal workouts, go out Saturday, run 3 miles and then 4 and then 5. Well, and then when she got up to 8 miles, she had pain and she's had to back off way back down.
Sure.
And when she told me, I said, yeah, you can't run one time a week and expect to add distance to it. You've really got to build a base. And a base looks like 2 or 3 runs a week. They might be short. It might just be 2 miles. That is okay because you got to start somewhere and you got to give your body time to adjust to what running feels like. And so I just think people are too hard on themselves when they start running. They just immediately assume they're going to get in shape really fast. They're going to lose weight really quick. They're going to jump right in. I hear sometimes, even on the podcast, there are people who get to do that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. But I don't think that's normal.
Right. No, I agree. And I always get asked this too when I have side conversations with runners. And they're like, well, I walk too. And I'm like, that's okay.
Right.
You're it's like you said earlier, we're all in different seasons. I just had to walk my first ever 5K. Coming up, I'm in the middle of an injury. And so we're getting that taken care of. And so my doctor's been like, no plyometrics. Now, here's the parameters. If you want to stay on the pavement and you want to get better, here's where you are.
Right.
But my goal is I'd find a walker and I'm like, I'm going to try to pass that walker, you know?
Right.
But I went in with no expectation of like, I've never actually tried to walk a 5K. So
I haven't either.
I'm just going to try to go for a sub 1 hour. But again, it's what you said. I literally didn't even look at my watch. I turned it on great. And I was like, we're just going to go. And we're just going to do this.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I had so much fun. And I surprised myself by how fast I could walk. Like, it was literally only 10 minutes off my running time. And I was like,
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. I was like, well, I'm also a slow runner. But I was like, hey, that makes this is a goal. This is doable. I don't have to give up being on the pavement.
Yes.
And if I truly believe that even walkers are part of the running community, then here we are. This is a part of the chapter that I'm, as you said, I'm doing. I hope that other people can see that. And they're like going to catch it and be like, you know what? She's right. And now I think every runner should be like, no, I'm going to walk this 5K.
Yeah.
Just pick a 5K and be like, I'm going to walk it and just see what it's like.
I think that's a great idea.
Completely different. But again, I'm in a different season. I'm in a season I don't want to be in.
Yeah.
But again, I'm trying to stay within those parameters and say, this is what I can and can't do right now. And I'm just going to have to do with it. But I completely agree that I think even in 2025, there's still this weird stigma about, but it's not from the runners. It's from the new people coming in that are like, this is what a runner has to look like.
Right.
We're not Olympians. This is not our full-time job.
Yes.
And it's like you said, you may only be able to go do those 20-minute run, but hey, you got a 20-minute run in.
Exactly.
Or a 20-minute walk in. You got it in. You put movement to the pavement. And at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Yes.
And so I like that. I like how you're like, do it safely and have fun. And honestly, no one's judging you.
Right.
No one's judging you.
Right. And I think the judgment only comes from our own minds.
Oh, 100%.
We hear someone else that just jumped in and can do it really great, or we see on social media, or we try to compare that. Or sometimes after race, you can pull up all the times of everyone. I can look at my age group and go, why are there people still running 7-minute miles?
Right. Correct.
Well, is that possible?
Yes.
I thought it changed when you got to be my age.
Right?
It's been since a long time ago, high school, since I could do that, right?
Yeah.
And so, but then I have to just step back and go, that's amazing. Somebody's body will let them still do that at my age. That's amazing. But that is not what mine is going to allow me to do.
Yeah.
And so when I could accept that and just say, but I still enjoy it. I feel like the endorphins kick in. I get all that good stuff from running. I feel great about exercising. walking a race is a great idea because some of the best things about the race is being there at the start with all that energy.
Mhm.
I'm a person that when I run, I tell the people around me all the time, good job, keep
Yeah.
going, you can do it. I love cheering people on
Mhm.
while I'm running. So if I was walking, I could do more of that.
Mhm.
I'd have more breath.
Well, okay, I say that, but when you're walking hills, Tracy,
Oh,
it was like, thank you to the police officer that he's guarding the road. I was like, thank you.
yes.
I just need a bump.
Yes.
Mhm.
I felt that at the battleship because you know how you finish going up the
Mhm.
hill before you can see the battleship,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it feels like you should be there.
Right.
And you have to still go up a big hill.
Mhm.
And at that point, I had told myself I had run and walked some, but I'm
Mhm.
going to run this last mile or something, right? But then it was a hill, so it just did not happen.
Mhm.
The only thing for me when I did the battleship, I did that for the first time, not the last one, but the one before, so
Okay.
a year and a half
Mhm.
ago. A lot of my cross country runners came to that one.
Mhm.
And so the only thing for me was I knew I will walk up that hill. I'm going to have to walk down that hill. But when I get into Battleship Park,
Mhm.
you can bet your bottom I'm going to be running
Mhm.
because I'm going to have 5 or 6 runners out there telling me what I tell them. You can do this. You just
Yeah.
have a few more minutes. Pick it
Oh,
up a gear.
gosh. Oh, I love
So
that.
I was determined. Once I got my little flag, I was
Yeah.
like, no matter what, I will not walk. None of them can see me walk.
And that's such a long distance.
It was a lot longer than I thought.
You're going and you're like, why is this parking lot so big?
When you drive in, it feels normal.
You're
It
right
feels
there. Yes.
normal.
And then you're like, oh, I made it to the airplane, but I still have to go further.
Yes. It was a very long haul at the
Yes,
end.
absolutely. I completely agree. I love the advice. I think that is so good. So good. Do you have a mantra when you want to give up?
I do. Well, yes and no. I don't have
Okay.
exact words, but I feel like in the last couple of years, I've just told myself it's his breath in my lungs. There's a song that says
Yes,
that.
I was
So
just about
I
to say
almost put
that.
it to that song. It's his breath in my lungs.
Mm.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Yeah.
So that helps me a lot because
Yeah.
I feel I only get to do this because I'm healthy enough to do it.
Mhm.
And I recognize that not everybody can. And
Yeah.
so it helps me keep perspective. I enjoy it
Mhm.
and I'm grateful for it. And then the other thing I've just said to myself over the years is I can do this for 5 more minutes. I would think back. Sometimes I tell myself in my head, I birthed 4 babies. I think I could push 4 babies out and mine were
Right.
big babies. If I could do that,
Mhm.
I can run 5 more minutes. I can
Mhm.
run 2 more minutes, right? I was in transition for way too long. I can run 2 minutes. So just remind myself, no, girl, you can do this.
That is great. Do you have any running goals?
Yes and no.
Okay.
My main running goal is to still just enjoy it. But I am doing the Azalea 10K. My
Mhm.
goal for that day is to actually run it. Like, I hope to not have to
Okay.
walk.
Mhm.
Besides maybe getting water, I'll
Sure.
probably have to stop at the water stops. But other than that, I hope I can just stay steady on my feet. So that means don't start off too hard and don't worry about the time. Just keep in that running mode is what I want to do. Other than that, I feel I want to go back and do the battleship again next fall. It didn't work with our schedule this year, but I want another shot at it because I felt like that first one I did, I walked more than I wanted to. I feel like I can do it a little bit stronger. Maybe not. See, and even that, maybe not faster or better, but stronger. I could feel stronger doing it than I felt. That to me, feeling strong is really important in a race.
Yeah.
And that's a benefit I've found after doing some CrossFit is now when I run, I feel stronger in the running. There's a hill in my neighborhood, and for the longest time, I've had to just walk up it. Like, just even in my head, when I see it, I'm going to have to walk when I get to that hill. But then after being at CrossFit now steady for about 2 months, I ran it the other day and I thought it didn't even bother me.
Ooh.
So that's
Okay.
huge.
Yeah.
Was I faster? I don't really know. But did I feel stronger and better about it? I did. I felt tougher. And I like the way that feels. So that's important to me. My son, he's running a half marathon tomorrow in Nashville.
Wow.
He's on the way there now.
Oh my goodness.
He's trying to get me to sign up for a try with him in the fall. Again, with him, I'll be at the start, but I would have to do something very sprint beginner try.
Yeah.
But now I have a good bike. I
Hey,
still am not a good
listen.
swimmer, but
Brett Robinson for triathlon is my favorite try. It's at the Hangout. It is
Oh.
absolutely amazing.
I saw that one online.
It's so good.
Okay, maybe I need to
So
go for
good.
it.
And they have a sprint and the Olympic. And I've only ever done the sprint,
Yeah, okay.
but it is my favorite sprint. I've done several other ones and I cannot say enough great things. Team Magic, they do a fantastic job
Okay.
of putting it on. So well organized. And then the after party's at the hangout, and you get food from the hangout. It's very catered. Oh man,
Do you know what time of year that one is? Is
I
that the
think
one
it's
in
usually
May?
like September.
September.
Mhm.
Oh, that might be what he was looking at
Mhm.
with me, trying to
Yeah.
talk me into going. So I said, I'm going to need a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I can't just jump in and do that. And I only tried it the one time in
Mhm,
Ohio when my
mhm.
bike broke, and then it just never worked out
Yeah.
again. So I feel like I am due for one where I can
You'll love this
finish
one.
the whole thing
Mhm.
without any major complication.
And this one's pretty flat.
Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah, and the run's a 2-mile run. And
Yeah,
so
that's good.
it's just now it does get really, even though it's September, it's hot here.
Right.
So
Right.
it does get a little hot. And then, but the 2 years ago, the last time that I did it, oh man, you could not have asked for better water. It was as calm as could be, and you could see all the way through. And I've
Wow.
never been in the Gulf where I could see.
Yeah,
And I had a lot of friends that were coming over, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you can see at the bottom
that's
of the ocean right now." And
amazing.
I had the best. My husband was like, "What are you doing?" When I got out transition out of the
Yeah.
water. And I was smiling and everything. He was like, "Is everything okay?" I was like, "Man, I forgot I was in a competition because I was just enjoying the swim." I just was like, "This was great." So
I love that.
it was really good. So that's my favorite. And I tell anybody that wants to get into triathlons, do that one because
Okay.
it's so well organized. It's a great after party. They really do take care of the
Okay.
athletes. And you're in the Gulf.
Yes.
It's I think it's a 300-meter swim.
Yeah.
So it's literally like 100, 100, 100. And
Right.
so you could doggy paddle it.
Yeah, and I might have to, but
Hey, but I'm saying it is so good. I tell people all the time, that's my favorite.
that's good to know because
Mhm.
that was one that we were looking at for sure.
Brett Robinson tried on. Cannot
Okay.
say enough great things. Everyone I've talked to that's done the Olympic, they're a little iffy on it. But
Yeah.
you are further out. So
Yes.
that would make sense.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's a great one. And
Okay.
like I said, it's flat. You're not going to hit major
Right.
hills.
Yeah.
So it's a really good one.
Okay. I'll
Mhm.
definitely, I'm going to pencil that one in
should.
and see
Do it. Do
if I
it.
can get there.
I love that goal. It's a really good goal.
Yes. Yeah, I
And
want to
do with your
redeem it.
kid. I think that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. He has actual goals for the times,
Yeah, right.
but I just want to go do it.
Yeah,
Right.
I love it. Oh, that's so good. What's your favorite length to run, whether it's a race day or it's a training run? Do you have a favorite length that you're just like, oh, I get to go run this?
For me, it's a 5K.
Okay.
I hear in your podcast a lot of people who say half marathon.
Mhm.
I don't understand that.
Me either. I don't understand that as a favorite length either. Yeah.
Wow, really? I get bored after a while. Maybe because I'm going too slow. I don't know. I don't get it. But for me, the 5K, and I naturally do that. Even when I run my neighborhood and the one beside me, even if I'm telling myself, don't worry about the distance, just
Yes.
run. I'll look down and say, okay, I feel I'm about done. It's going to be 3.2 or something. It's always, I have some kind of natural preset. 5K.
If I'm done a 5K.
Yeah, 5K
Mhm.
is about my thing. Maybe it's because it's what I did in cross country and I
Mhm.
just set myself up that way, or I don't know what it is, but I genuinely like a 5K.
Okay.
So,
Oh, that's super fun. Okay. When you're not running, Tracy, what fuels you? What are you passionate about?
well, I love time with my family. I love being at my kids' activities. That's a season that I've been in for a couple of years now. That's been a very busy season, but I have loved every moment of it. Seeing them out in the soccer field, seeing my son out there playing the tuba, seeing my daughter run. It's been fun to be a part of those teams and those communities and things. I recognize that I have 2 in college and 2 in high school, and one of the high schoolers is a senior, so that season is it's closing out, but I'll now still be supporting them just in other things.
Sure.
Won't be maybe at the high school, but it's going to be in other things. So I enjoy that a lot, the time with my family. I really enjoy traveling. I love to go new places, and I love being outdoors. So if my husband and I take a trip, we try to go for our anniversary somewhere. We don't get to it every year. When the kids were little, we didn't. It was at 5 years, at 10 years.
Sure, sure.
But now that they're older, it's different. We can get away for 2 or 3 nights without too much trouble. But almost anything we pick is a park. We go to the water or we go to a park or mountains where we can hike. So we've done a lot of national parks and state parks. And so I love being outside. It really refuels me. It really helps me feel connected. So anything outside is good. I like to read. I don't have as much time to do that as I would like.
Sure.
But when I can, I like to read, especially mysteries and stuff like that. It's my genre. So those are all things that I love. I love being part of my church, my community there. I'm a teacher. I love the kids I teach. I love being part of that community. So those are the things that are my highlights.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Any final words of wisdom?
This one was hard when I thought through it. I guess what I want to say the most is just to be able to run and be healthy is just such a gift. So I guess just as words of wisdom, just appreciate the journey. and don't get hung up on the details. Like you said, we're not Olympians. Just go out there and enjoy it for what it is and be grateful that your body can do it and that you have the strength and the health to do it. Because we all know people that are our ages that have not had the same opportunities. Life
Sure.
has just come hard at them.
Yeah.
And the fact that I can still do this and that it energizes me and that
Mhm.
it's a passion of mine, I don't take that for granted.
Mm.
So just to appreciate the journey.
Mm. Oh, Tracy, that's so good. This has been such a great
It
time
has.
together and to get to know you and your story and just all the advice that you gave and the lessons. Just absolutely incredible. So
Thank you.
thank you so
Thanks for
much
having me.
this. Absolutely. Man, didn't Tracy bring so much good advice and just lessons learned? Oh, they were absolutely beautiful. And Tracy, I just adored your story. It was so sweet. And again, the reminder to be in the season that we're in, but also to be aware of those that are watching around us and how we do react in those seasons. I think that is absolutely beautiful. And I am so thankful that I've gotten to know you and that you shared your story. It was absolutely incredible and so much fun. And again, I needed all those lessons. I needed to hear all the advice that you gave. And that's why I really appreciate you so much. And again, just thank you for being part of this running community. And I can't wait to see your races. It's going to be so much fun. And a huge shout out again to Run and Try, Aaron and his staff. Thank you so much, Run and Try Mobile, for believing in Runner's story, for always being up for our crazy ideas, for being up for anyone's crazy ideas in the running community. You are absolutely incredible, and we thank you, Aaron and Run and Try Mobile. Guys, go shop there. Go tell him thank you. Say, hey man, I listened to the podcast. And if you haven't heard Aaron's story, you should. He's a really cool guy. And I really appreciated getting to know him and his story. That was so much fun. And I see Aaron differently. So definitely go check his story out if you haven't heard it. And make sure you go in and you say thank you so much for supporting Runner's Story. And he's one of our official shoe partners, and we really appreciate that. He is absolutely terrific. And so thank you, Aaron, so much for all that you do for the running community and for Runner's Story. Thank you to Gilliard Tech Services for making us all sound so great. Still recovering from having been sick, and so voice isn't completely 110%. And so there's been coughing fits, there's been retakes, and so Gray's been so patient and so kind. So definitely check him out for all your website needs, and he can help you build the website of your dreams or help you give you a different perspective of an existing website that you have. He really is passionate about not only the running community, but for entrepreneurs. He loves helping out small businesses and anyone that has a goal and a dream of a website. He loves it. He absolutely loves what he does. And so thank you to Greg Gilliard from Gilliard Tech Services. He edits our podcast. He updates our website. He does such a phenomenal job. And so we are so appreciative of him. So thank you, Greg, from Gilliard Tech Services. Guys, go check him out. Thank you so much to Mars Hill Church. It was great being back for an in-person interview and just so exciting. We've been doing a lot of online ones and some across the bay. And so it was nice to be back at Mars Hill Church. They believe in the Run Your Story community. They believe our stories have impact, and they do so much behind the scenes. They don't care about recognition, but I believe that we should call out those who support us and believe in us. And so thank you to Mars Hill Church. We would not even be where we are without them giving us a safe place to be able to record. So thank you so much for that. And if you ever need a place of worship, ever want a place to go, whatever season you're in, Mars Hill Church, they love everyone. So come on in. That's what I got to say. I love them. To our Patreon supporters, thank you so much. I say it all the time, and that is that we would not be where we are without them. And that is 110% true. They are so encouraging. They believe in our wild dreams. They believe in us. And that is just to have people walk alongside you and say, I believe in you. You've got this. I can't even tell you what that means, because there are some days where I just feel like I'm not the person to do this. And they'll come alongside. Our Patreon supporters have no idea how much their words of encouragement mean. They'll send me a message, or we have a group message that we're in, and they'll say something, and I'm like, wow, I needed that. And so I always want to make them proud. I know that they sacrifice for us. And so thank you to our Patreon supporters. We absolutely love and adore you. Thank you so very much for believing in Runner's Story. They love the running community. They're passionate runners and walkers, and they believe. And I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. So thank you to our Patreon supporters. They're our family, and I absolutely love and adore them.
And so make sure you like, comment, and share Tracy's story. It is so worth sharing. Every story is, and every story is beautiful and different. And we just love that. That's the cool thing about all of this, is that as we have that saying in the running community, your pace, your race, this is your story. And we are so grateful that we get to share those stories. So make sure you like, share, comment, even leave us a review. If you have been somebody that has been on the podcast, share your experience with the world. And if you are a listener and you're inspired, make sure you give us 5 stars. We do the very best that we can, and we hope that we get to continue for many, many more seasons, and that your stories get out there. And that's what we care about. We care about your stories and then the inspiration that they're going to bring to someone. So until next time, guys, go run your story, because every story needs to be heard.